You don't have to sit cross-legged. You know that that's the case. You can sit any way that is comfortable, and you can move into any position that is comfortable. So if you try it like this and you're thinking, no, this isn't for me tonight, and I want to sit in another position, then please do that. I'm still sort of scanning, looking for the eye. It's really weird. It's thrown me because I can find the case, but not the device. Anyway, let's take the fingertips to the floor next to ourselves. Are we all ready? I think we're about ready. I'll just give you one more moment. That's it. So make sure you've got some space to the sides. And we're going to take an inhalation and raise the hands all of the way up. And then when they come above your head, you're going to turn your palms downwards, and your fingers are almost coming to touch. The hands are soft, the hands are light, and you're gently moving the hands down. Then you take the palms out to the sides again and take an inhalation and gather up. This is called gathering clouds. And then gently letting the hands come down through the center line. Good evening, Anne. Welcome. We're just sitting. You can see what we're doing. Inhaling and opening all the way up. And then palms facing down as you gently travel the hands down. The palms are soft. The fingers are relaxed. It's all going on, isn't it? Sorry, let me turn my phone on to don't disturb. You can probably, I don't know whether you could hear that. So it's ringing in my ears, really weird. Okay, so we're keeping on going with this for maybe just a couple more rounds. And this is a lovely way to calm, to center, and literally to gather. So we'll do one more like this. And then to finish off, we're going to take the arms out wide to the sides, and above your head, the palms will meet. And then you're drifting the hands down so that the backs of the thumbs rest towards your third eye or the center of your forehead. And we're going to pause there for a moment. We'll breathe gently in and out at your own pace. If this gets uncomfortable for your shoulders, please lower the hands. And by having a little bit of a weight pressed on here, said to be very calming, soothing the mind, slowing the thoughts down. And take one more breath in. One more breath out. And then let the hands in your own time release downwards. And I want you to stay in this calm place as you gently lower yourself onto the back of your body to lie down. And you can lie down with your knees bent. You can put your bolster underneath your knees if you wish to. You can use a pillow for your head if you need one. Essentially, just get comfortable and let the hands rest wherever feels right. So that could be out to the sides. It could be with the palms resting onto your tummy. Let the back of your head rest and sink. We're going to focus on the breath now for a few minutes. So what I'd like you to do tonight is in the belly, down low, I want you to imagine that there's a balloon inside of your body. And when you take your inhalations, the balloon is inflating, but it's inflating on the inside of your body. The balloon is anchored to the bottom of the torso, the bottom of the space inside of you. And as you breathe in, it grows and fills up the balloon, but moves in an upwards direction so that the whole of your torso feels as though the balloon has expanded, but it stays anchored, so it's filling up the entire space. Then as you exhale, the balloon is deflating, but it's deflating on the inside of your body from the top back down towards the bottom. So down towards, if you like, your perineum, your pelvic floor, your digestive organs. It doesn't matter. So think about it moving in that downward direction. And then as you breathe in, the balloon inflates once again. It's inflating in all directions, not just upwards, but also out to the sides, to the floor beneath you. When it deflates, it gets smaller and returns down to the bottom. The breath doesn't need to be especially long. The balloon that you grow doesn't need to be expressively big. So match the growth of the balloon to the pattern of your breath. Stay focused. And if visualizing the balloon is not really your thing, just concentrate on the breath starting at the bottom of the abdomen in the lower dantian and moving its way higher up through the middle dantian and into the upper dantian, the three spaces, where different energy exchanges happen within your body. Okay, just take one or two more breaths as you are. And then let go of this visual practice. Let your breath find its easy rhythm again. Okay. So our practice this evening is going to think about lengthening the back line of the body. And that's kind of a follow on to some of the stuff that we were doing on Tuesday night where we were working the hamstrings. To begin with, however, I just want to lengthen the back of the body and to kind of work into the hips a little bit. So essentially, you're just bringing your knees in towards your chest. You could make this tiny bit different and maybe a little bit stronger, if that is the right word, by rolling over and doing child's pose. But considering that you're lying down, I'm going to suggest that you get your bolster and stay lying down, but place your bolster onto your tummy down the center of your body, and then wrap your legs or your ankles around the bolster and wrap your arms around the bolster as well. And you can just give it a hug. And of course, if you don't enjoy this and it feels a strain to be here, it's too much pressure on a certain part of your body, you're very, very welcome to modify this. It could just be that you keep your feet flat on the floor and just have the bolster resting onto your abdomen and give it a hug. Because actually, the weight of it is something that's very comforting, very pleasant. I really enjoy this. I don't know. It's like cuddling a giant teddy bear, isn't it? If you were a kid. And then, of course, we grow up and that's kind of becomes something we grow out of doing. So instead, we cuddle other humans, we cuddle our animals and our loved beings. But maybe just tonight we could give ourselves a little bit of a cuddle and just give a little bit of love, a little bit of kindness, a little bit of gratitude to ourselves, to the week that we've had. We've nearly at the end of it. We're nearly on Friday. We're going to hang out here for another couple of minutes. So just really soften into it. Let the shoulders relax. Allow your head to be heavy. Taking soft, even breaths. You're going to stay for one more minute. But if you'd like to come out sooner, you know that that's always an opportunity and a possibility. Okay, so taking your last final breath here. And then gently releasing, putting the feet down on the floor, which should feel really lovely after having them in the air for that long. And you can let go of the bolster. Maybe it's reluctantly, maybe it's one to remember for another time when you feel like you need to give yourself a little bit of a hug. And you can stay as you are and just let the body rest, let the body ease, become still again. Okay. So I invite you to stay lying down because for the next pose, I'm going to give us a couple of options. The first option, and you could actually, I'm going to keep my bolster there just in case. So, the first option, it's basically shoelace pose, which I included in this morning's class. I don't think we did it on Tuesday night, but it was in this morning's class. And shoelace pose is essentially one leg crossed over the other. Now you can put, like I have, I've put my feet on the floor, on the bolster. You could put your foot on the wall. So imagine that this foot is now on the wall. And you could also just hold and hug the knees in towards the chest. The closer you bring the knees towards the chest, the more of a sensation of stretch you'll feel on your outer hip. And obviously we'll do one leg and then we'll do the other. Now, for those that want to sit up, for instance, you can do the same pose where you cross just one leg over, and then you're going to hug under the knee of the other leg and just fold towards it. Okay, so we're doing a single leg shoelace, and then we will swap over and do the other leg. You're going to swap legs anyway, so whether you're lying or whether you're sitting, they are the options that we're playing with right now. And I'm going to put a little timer on for this side. So take your time if you're still setting it up. Please don't rush. Now you're bringing the knees in towards the chest, which is creating a little bit of compression at the front of the hips. Not a bad thing. And actually not a bad thing because you're bringing yourself towards the end of your range of motion. When we're sitting in a chair or when we're driving, that the hip flexor is shortening, it's getting closer together, but it's not at its end range. When you bring the knee up in towards your chest, that's when it's at its end range of compression. And that's what we want to do in our yin practice. We want to explore more of the end ranges. So Fiona, see if you can put something under your head and just so that you can relax. Can you put your bolster there or something? Or yeah, lovely. Because otherwise it's too much effort to be there. And if you're finding it hard holding onto your legs, you could use a strap. So you could put a strap around your shin and do it that way. Sorry, so Anne, we're doing a half shoelace, either sitting or lying. So it's like this, sitting and just hugging the leg in, one leg crossed over the other. Or it's the same thing, but lying down and maybe just bringing the knees in towards you so that you've got a feeling of stretch in the outer hips. You'll have more stretch in the hip of the leg that you've crossed over the top, most likely. And you've got about 1 more minute here, everybody. So soften into it. Try not to force. Breathe into any intensity that you might be feeling in the outer hip. Okay, so taking one more breath on this side. And when you're ready to, please swap the legs over. And if you want to have a break in between sides, just pause for a few breaths. Don't rush. There's no rush to come onto the second side. Take your time. So generally, when we are feeling a little bit tight in the hips, this is the area that we want to target. Whether you're sitting or whether you're lying, there's a gentle opportunity for the back length of the back body to increase. And what I'm loving watching is all of your dancing feet. Those of you, yes, twirling your feet and your toes. Why not? Lovely. Okay, so you're going to take one more breath here. And then gently let go of the shape. Let your feet come to rest again, or your legs to straighten. If you feel that you want to straighten them, just take care with opening into the front of the hips again. You've been a long time with the knees in towards the chest now. Okay. So just having a look at your screen for the next one. And we're going to switch it up a little bit and come into mermaid pose or variations of mermaid. Now I've put my bolster across the mat. You don't have to have something as high as this. If you want something less, roll up your blanket and use that instead. You'll also notice that I've put my blanket here. This is just to elevate my hip a little bit because I do find this is just a little bit too high. But for the most part, it works for me. Now you're going to lay down, bringing the shoulder, the top of the shoulder must be towards the floor. And therefore, you're probably going to want a pillow for your head and maybe even something to support the underneath of your neck. Your top arm is going to go alongside your ear. And then you can do whatever you like with your top leg. You could straighten it down to the end of the mat. You could keep it bent so that you've got a more gentle version. Or for those that want a stronger version, you can take the top leg more behind you. So it's still bent, but you're just taking it behind. And this really will open up the side and the kind of front edge of your torso. But obviously go at your, modify and explore and experiment. If you know that this isn't great for your body for tonight's practice, then you could try banana pose instead. And we did that, I think, last week or the week before, so it'll be very familiar because that's more a gentler version. This is a bit more, asks a few more questions of you. So again, timer's going on. We're going to spend 3 minutes here. Please make sure that you've taken the time to support the parts of your body that need supporting. If the top arm doesn't want to be over the head because it's giving you pins and needles in your fingers, just bring it back and rest it on the side of your body. Or you could rest it here onto the side of the ribs like this and then let the elbow fall down towards the floor. So there's always that option if you want to. So we're just offering a little bit of internal massage to the organs, especially because you began with the balloon breath visualization. So expanding and opening up space inside your body. Now you're just changing things up. You're changing the orientation, gently stimulating the storage elements within your body without going into those in lots and lots of detail. But the you're in the liver and gallbladder region of your body here. Whether you're lying on your liver or whether you're stretching your liver out, one or the other is happening right now. And the liver's energy is considered to be very deep within the body. So it's a big storage vessel for your blood. And your blood, we want to rest in this storage vessel so that it can be healed, so that it can be nourished, it can be fed, it can be strengthened. That's why it's very, very important to get adequate sleep, to be in bed early, to go to sleep at a decent time so that your blood has that chance to return to your liver overnight where it gets replenished and where it rests, essentially. All the spare blood that you don't need to fill up your muscles and to keep everything functioning like it needs to during the daytime when you're awake and you're alert and you're busy and you're moving. Instead, at night, you're still, you rest, you're sedentary. And so the blood goes back to the liver and it gets that chance to rest along with you. So take one more breath on this side. And then I'd like you to roll onto the other side, but to take your time. There's no rush coming onto the second side. Just lazily explore, leaving the shape. No big or fast movements. Take your time and really support. Use your hands to support you moving. Go extra slowly. Be very kind. We have just this one body. I know that we can go and repair and get replacements for a lot of the parts of it, but essentially, the shell of our being, this house that our soul resides within, we just get one of those. Again, feel fully supported on this second side once you're there. Use any props that feel appropriate. Okay, so taking your last breath on this side. Well done, everybody. And slowly returning your arm back down by your side if it was extended. Maybe you roll a little bit forwards to support yourself with your hands as you come up. And you can then slide out of the way the props that you've used, and bring yourself into a comfortable lying position to finish this particular pose. Yeah, and those feelings of stiffness, of having aged, all very normal. Yes, that's why we have to be so kind to ourselves as we move out of these shapes and take our time, no rush. Okay, so as we approach the end of the practice, we've got one more double-sided pose to do, lots of double sides tonight. And this one I am going to bring you away from the floor for, or sort of anyway. So you're going to come into Twisting Tiger, where you sit to one side and with the bolster pointing away from you, and then you're gently rotating. Now, Joe, if you don't want to do this one, just leave this one out and I'll give you something else to do in a second, okay? So remember that when we come into Twisting Tiger, we want to try to gently lengthen the spine. We don't want to be all squished and sunken here. So start by elevating the collarbones, the top of the head, putting some space into the torso, and then gently spiraling to come down. Now, you don't have to turn your head like I have in the opposite direction to the knees. You can keep your head turned in the same direction as the knees. So please do your best to make sure that you're treating your body with that kindness we talked about at the beginning. Okay, now obviously we're going to do both sides, so bear that in mind, but come into your first side. Joe, your alternative for this first one could be a child's pose, where you sit kneeling and you bring the bolster in towards you and you simply fold towards it so that you've got a little bit of support there underneath you. Okay, and it's just going to keep your hips nice and neutral. Your spine fairly neutral, but with that gentle lengthening along the back body that I talked about us finding in tonight's practice. Okay. Lovely. So don't force. You've got time to be here. Make sure that the hips are allowed to feel heavy, that they're not hanging around in the air feeling unsupported, that you feel as though you are supported in this, whatever shape, whatever position that you're in. We want to sense that we are elongating the body, but in a way that feels beneficial. And yes, there is an element of this has a restorative nature in the fact that you're using plenty of support beneath you. But don't underestimate the effects of this. I do have another pose, Joe, if you'd like to try that instead. If you're happy as you are, stay as you are. But if you would like another pose, you can have a look at the screen now. This is just for Joe that's not liking the twists so much. So it's the same kind of pose, but you can sit upwards, keep the spine neutral, and just turn the knees to the side, which is essentially what everybody else is doing, but from a lot, they're doing it lying over the bolster. But this might keep the spine a little bit more neutral and make it into the hips. I don't know. You could just lie down on your mat and just let your knees fall to one side, or even come into butterfly. You know, where we have the soles of the feet together, the knees open. Yeah, does that work for your back at the moment? Yeah, use a pillow. We have to be a little bit aware of what happens in these twists, or the potential of the twists. So I'll go into it in a little bit more detail when we come on to the second side, which we will do shortly. So just enjoy another few breaths here. And then taking your last breath and emerging when you're ready from this shape, taking your time. Take a breath and then explore coming into the shape on the other side. Okay, so make sure that there's length along the spine, that you haven't squished yourself up too much. What we can enjoy here is the fact that the pose and indeed most of the twists that come to mind have this ability to invigorate because they're opening, they're creating space in the body. Yet at the same time, that opening, the rotation through the body and the sinking into it also has this other quality where it calms and settles both the body and the mind, especially when we train ourselves to fully let go in whatever shape that we're in. Okay, so taking last final breath here. And then emerging from the twist and maybe coming to lie down if you prefer, or you can sit. Watch how your body unwinds. Be curious as to how you return and the various feelings, sensations that come with it. Okay, so we're going to finish with one final pose. And for this one, it's a forward fold. Now, if you want, you can do your forward fold lying down like a snail pose. And that's where you lay on your back, but you take your feet to the sort of towards the ground behind you. You can put your feet on a chair, you can put your feet on your bolster. But I'm going to suggest that we do a forward fold in a seated position for the majority of us. And maybe the bolster goes across the lap like mine is now, and you just round forwards over it. Or the bolster can go in front and propped up, and you lean towards it that way and give it a hug again, like we did at the beginning. Or if you want to, and you want to take a bit of the pressure out of your back and more into your legs, then I would suggest sitting on something, maybe not as high as this. This is quite high. But when you elevate your pelvis, do you remember how we tipped forwards and backwards on Tuesday? We were doing a lot of that. So if you tip the pelvis forwards, it's much easier to do that when your hips are higher. It doesn't have to be as high as this. It could be just on a cushion, on a block, on a blanket, but just something that elevates the hips will encourage them to tip forwards. And for me, this is much gentler on the back. Okay, but then if you want to do this and the back, you just allow the upper body to round with you as well. And it's not you trying to get really close to the legs. It's not about that at all. It's the complete opposite. It's you just trying to create as long a line along the back of your body as you can. And that longer line happens when you are rounding your spine, particularly, or at least it does for me in this pose. Okay. So come into a forward fold that works for you. Don't be afraid to round your back. But if it does feel uncomfortable to do that, then you're more tipping your pelvis and keeping your back a little bit more neutral. And you can kind of hang out here quite nicely. And sometimes it's quite nice to just tip the pelvis forwards, elbows onto the bolster, and then you can let your head rest into your hands. And for me, I've got very, very little sensation in my back right now, but the majority of the sensation is in the back of the legs. Okay, so taking your final breath here. Slowly peeling yourself away and back and upright and just sitting. Eyes closed, body still. Okay. And then we make our way to Shavasana, not for very long because we're already up to about 9:30, but just for a few minutes just so that we can settle. So letting maybe the bolster to catch the back of the knees. Now, a little tip. So, something I forget to remind people. So often I say to you, bolster underneath the back of the knees because it's the most logical thing to say, and we kind of get caught in habits, don't we? But for me, if I put the bolster underneath the back of my knees, I don't find that particularly comfortable. I don't find it supportive. I actually feel it's a bit more of a strain on my lower back. So what I do is I bring the bolster a little bit closer towards my sit bones so that now the bolster's more underneath the back of my thighs. So the back of my thighs, the heavy bit of the leg, the thighs, is fully supported. There's a little bit of my knee being supported. That's great. My heels are on the floor, but now I feel that my back can relax and so can my legs actually. So yeah, that's my little tip, is to just inch the bolster just that little bit closer towards your sit bones and experiment with it. You might disagree with me entirely and think I'm barking up the wrong tree, but do what's right for your body and don't just accept what's being offered to you all of the time. Think about, what can I do to tweak this? Does this sit well with me? And if it doesn't, then, be curious always, because your practice only becomes your practice when you take ownership of it and you decide. Doesn't matter who the teacher is, doesn't matter what class you go to, but you need to be in charge of the way that you move and hold your body. So now, to calm and to settle, I'd like you to go back to those balloon breaths that we did at the beginning. Imagine a balloon. I wonder what colour your balloon might be. Imagine the balloon inside your body, anchored at the bottom. We sometimes call this the root of the being, don't we? So imagine this balloon being tethered to the root of your being. And then as you breathe in, the balloon inflates and fills up that inside space within you. Only this time, as you breathe out, you're emptying out the breath completely. The balloon not only gets smaller, but this time the balloon completely shrivels up into almost nothing. Then when the next in-breath comes, the balloon inflates, it stretches, opens, and as you exhale, it deflates. But your exhale is starting to last a little bit longer now, and therefore the balloon gets ever so small, crinkly, shriveled up. And then breathing in and it expands. And let the visualization fade. For the breath to go back to a pattern of its own. Can you take one more breath, please, as you are? And then begin to breathe a little bit more deeply as you bring your awareness back into the space that you're in. You've offered yourself a little bit of kindness in coming onto your mat and taking the practice tonight. So continue the kindness as you move into the final stage of your day, staying as yin side as you possibly can for this evening. When you're ready, you can move by stretching, lengthening, wriggling, whatever you want. Before gathering knees in towards you and gently rolling to one side as you make your way up into a comfortable seat, but take your time. Good, welcome back. We finish as we always do together. So sitting up tall, fingertips out to the sides. And as you inhale, the hands rise, the palms meet, and the hands come down to heart center. As we finish our practice in an attitude of gratitude for ourselves, for stepping onto our mats, and for the practice, for everything that it gives us when we do find our way back here. Namaste to all of you, and have a lovely evening and a lovely weekend.